guys, happy Tuesday. I think you can hear me, but I'm gonna wait until everything on my screen looks like it's ready to go. So happy Tuesday. Hi, because it's Tuesday, I'm back again with a live like usual. I just wanted to talk to you today about email marketing. I want to share 7 quick tips with you. I'm gonna try and do my video shorter moving forward because you guys are keeping me so busy. I only have so much time, and I'm also learning a ton. So anyways, 7 email marketing tips for you. So first off, why does email marketing matter? I know that with social media, like there's so many ways that you can market yourself. It's a little overwhelming. It's just like, well, should I be here or should I be there? Should I do this? Why do I want to be here? So just focusing on email marketing, even though it feels like it's an older medium, it's still really powerful, especially when you think about how everyone has like a work email address and it's what they check first in the day, things of that nature. So for example, from a marketing standpoint, every dollar you spend on email marketing, research shows that for every dollar, you get $38 back as far as return on investment. So it matters. Another really important thing, and this is something that's actually has my attention and makes me want to think more about this for my business, is that you have control over email. So Facebook is wonderful for me, it's great, but I'm still at the mercy of Facebook rules, regulations, and formats. And I hear stories about people getting locked out of, social media stuff for, various reasons. But with email, you don't get kicked out, right? So you have, to an extent, more control. Anyways, let me just jump right in. I'll share 7 quick email marketing tips with you. I have been doing more research on this, and I will be adding email templates to my business, to my store, and also be writing some soon for other clients of mine. So I've been doing more research on this recently. So here's 7 tips. 1, let's talk about the subject lines. Subject lines are super important. So make sure it's a priority, make sure you write them well. So for example, did you know that 35% of email recipients open the email based on the subject line alone? So there's all sorts of quotes about like subject lines mattering for blog posts, for email, stuff like this. Some people say, like, when it comes to like the header of something, you spend 80 cents out of your dollar. So your subject line matters. And here's what you need to do when it comes to emails. Be short, be practical, and try and get them curious. Don't be clever, don't be vague, don't try and do something super poetic. Be very utilitarian. So for example, say that your target market is pizza restaurants who need new ovens. So a really good title for them would be, Joe, are you tired of soggy pizzas? So you're letting them know right away. First off, you're using their name, which is a really good thing to do in a subject line. And 2, you're getting right to the point of something they want. So in the subject line, be short, be practical. Another thing to keep in mind, make sure that your email subject line is short enough that people can see it on when they're reading it on mobile. I read I don't have it here on hand, but I read recently that I think at least half of the people who are looking at your email is going to be on their phone. So make sure whatever email subject you do is really short. So CoSchedule. If you're watching this, go look it up. CoSchedule email subject line tester. It's a great tool. I use it myself. Check it out. CoSchedule email line tester. It helps you with length, with the right kinds of words, and what words are powerful, which words might get you thrown in spam, stuff like that. So nothing else, take that away. CoSchedule's email subject line tester tool. Great. So tip 1, write a short, clear subject line, okay? Number 2, one of the best things you can do is address your email recipient by name. So think about it. We love, all of your content is supposed to be about the other person. You're not writing about yourself. You're writing how you can help them. I'm not reading this because I like you. I'm reading this because I want to know how you can make my life better. So use your name. Keep talking about them. So, email platforms have places where you can include it. And for example, in the content membership that I do, when I send out the broadcast email every Sunday, it has a placeholder where in the email list, it automatically adds the name of the person I'm sending it to. It matters. It gets open more often, stuff like this. Make sure that you take advantage of it. It's a small thing, it goes a long way. And this goes into tip number 3. So tip number 2, address your email recipient by name. Don't just say, hey there, or anything like that. Use the name. Use the name if you have it. Tip number 3, be personal. This goes a long way. Be personal and try and find uncommon commonalities. So for example, I went to OSU, but I also graduated with like, oh my God, like 10,000 of my closest friends, of course, when I graduated. So I can try and make connections with someone who went to OSU, but it's such a big university, it's kind of flimsy. Try and find something uncommon. So this is really good that if you have a shorter email list or you're really trying to make deeper impressions with people, try and find personal details. So I have some like information for that for you, of course. It's found that emails with like an extra personalized touch, like going in and adding personal details, things in common, instead of a 7% reply rate, it goes up to 17%. That's more than double your success rate, right? So it's worth it to add a few personal details. So I actually have an experience of this in my own life. So when I first started, this business of creating content for bookkeepers, I had this thread in a Facebook group where probably 30 people replied and were interested. And what I did is I created a template. It wasn't an email, it was a Facebook message, but I created basically a template message. I copied and pasted it, but I took the middle paragraph, and in the middle paragraph, I looked at their profile for a couple of minutes for each person and added in a couple details. So for example, I had one of the people that I reached out to, I saw on her Facebook profile that she went and saw this comedian that I like called Bill Burr. Not everyone knows who he is. I listen to comedians all the time. That's like my working music, basically. And so I mentioned in the rest of the email or the message was a template, but then I also talked about like, oh, by the way, I saw that you went to that Bill Burr show. How was it? I love listening to him and his joke on this and this. So it was a small thing, but a month later she hired me and did some work with me. It was great. So the personalization matters, especially if you're making first contact with this person. So yeah, it matters. It bumps up your success rate for them replying and working with you. So if you have a smaller email list where you can do a little bit of homework, you can still work from a template, but have like a paragraph in the middle where it's just about a personalized detail. So you have your intro all laid out, but then you have in the middle, talking about like what you see on their Facebook page. We're in a place, if you're connected on Facebook, you can see so much information. You can pick up on those commonalities so fast. Use it to your advantage if you're friends with them on Facebook. All right, so that was tip number 3, be personal, find uncommon commonalities. Number 4, there are things that will more likely throw your email into spam. So number 1, make sure you have a subject line. If you forget to have a subject line, it may not go to spam, but they won't open it. So make sure you have some kind of subject line. I know that bookkeepers tend to have, you guys are so good with the details that sometimes you get caught up with them too much. Even if it's not the perfect subject line, make sure you have something, okay? Avoid spammy words. So I'm not gonna spool them off for you, but just Google something like words to avoid in marketing emails. You'll find a list super fast. And things that can get your, things like percent, help, sale. There are certain words that if you use them, especially in the subject line, the recipient spam filter may kick on and throw it out before it even gets to the inbox. They don't even read this email you spent all this time on. So try and do a little research on what words will get you kind of thrown out. Once again, that CoSchedule email subject line tester I told you about, it helps flag those things. So run stuff through there. It'll let you know if a word is considered spammy or may end up in the spam filter. Another thing, if you're doing marketing emails, avoid adding attachments. Attachments, especially big ones, those don't look very good, and those also can kick things into the spam folder. I actually was talking about this recently. I've been doing all these lead magnets, and people are trying to figure out, well, how can I use them and stuff like that? Can I email it out? And it's just you can, but your better option most likely is to include links. Have a link in the email and link them back. Either link them to the gated part of your website where it's include your email and get the download, or you can if you have it as a Google Doc, include a link in your marketing email to the Google Doc where the lead magnet is, but don't attach it. It's more likely that it'll get marked as spam and then they'll just never see it. So you don't want to do that. So that's 4, avoid things that'll get you thrown into spam. Number 5, it's okay to keep this email short and sweet, especially if you're there's a term called interruption marketing. If you're coming in new, people think about how full your email inbox is. Mine is Between my email and my Facebook Messenger, I get so many messages a day that if someone is messaging me out of the blue, I don't want it to be fluff. If you want something from me, if you have a question, go ahead and ask, but I don't want a whole lot of stuff with it, you know? So even if you just write, 2 to 4 paragraphs, it's fine. They know that you're asking for something. They know that you have a purpose. So just explain. Be honest, be upfront, be clear. That's okay. Just try and keep it short and sweet. And that kind of goes into my tip number 6. So number 5, keep it short and sweet. That's fine. Tip number 6, be clear and specific. So especially if this is like a first email, like a cold email, let them know exactly what you're emailing about. You can be clear in the subject line, because remember, we want it to be useful, clear, utilitarian. Be clear about, the kind of benefit you're giving them, or the industry that you're in. Same in the body of the email. Be very clear, get to the point where it's just like, I'm reaching out to you for X reason, or I heard that you were struggling with this, and I want to help you with this in X way. Be very clear. Another part of that is, when you're clear, the best thing you can do with the email is, the email is just a trigger. Content marketing and sales, it's a whole line of communications and conversations and touch points. So this is just one point in a long conversation with someone, hopefully not too long, but you know what I mean. So you want to tell them what the next step is. This isn't the end of the conversation. You want it to go forward, but you need to be clear and specific on what you want them to be. Pick one thing you want them to do next. Be clear and specific. Do you want them to, are you trying to offer value? Check out my blog series here. That's it. That's the one thing you want them to do. Keep it clear, keep it specific, one call to action. But make sure that you do that. Give them the next step. Give them one next step, and they're more likely to follow through on that. Sometimes it feels like, I should give options. And I know that I'm not always good about this either, but it's true. Give one clear next step. So for example, there's a mentality when you're building even like a landing page for your website. If you have a single page site or it's a sales page, you want to make sure it's as simple as possible. You want to take away all other options, because you want just one option on that sales page, whether that's to book the course, whether that's to book the call. You want them to just have one option, because you don't want them getting distracted and going off elsewhere. You got to pick one goal for your email on what you want them to do next. And then tip number 7, express gratitude. This can go a very long way. This again is something I accidentally did well when I messaged those bookkeepers back in October. I made sure to add a note of gratitude at the end and things of that nature. Experimentally, this does matter. It increases response rate. So I came across this data where it says, in one experiment, this woman, Francesca Gino, she said, I asked people to spend some time helping a student improve a job application cover letter. So asking a favor. And after the student sent the request, and after the recipient sent their feedback, the student replied with either, I received your feedback, or she replied with, thank you so much for your help. And then when they ask again, if you're not grateful, it was only a 32% success rate. If you just acknowledge, you're like, all right, I got it. If you ask again later, they're less likely to help. But when they helped the first time and she said, thank you so much, and then the experiment was she asked again for help a couple days later, that 32% that was just like, well, she didn't say thank you, went up to 66%. So once again, she doubled her chances of getting more help and having a continuing relationship in the future. Once again, this is a series of conversations. It's a series of, it's a relationship. You're relationship building. And you don't want to just send one email and never talk to them again. You want to increase the chance of them going to the next step, and being grateful when they reply, when they interact with you, can double the chances of them getting to the next step with you. So that's 7. Bonus tip, follow up. So this is my bonus tip for you. I've been doing more research on this, and you can do this is something I'm actually working on right now. You can do a follow-up email sequence, right? So if you do send off, a single email, an introductory email, a cold email, you can have it set up where you can send a couple of follow-up emails. People don't actually mind that, especially if what you're doing is helpful. Think about how busy your inbox is. Mine is crazy. A couple of gentle follow-ups, they're not unwelcome. As long as you're not pushy or resentful, just try and follow up a couple of times. So for example, this one company, they cold emailed 600 prospects. They had a response rate of 1%. But here's what they did. They added a couple of follow-up emails, and that one jumped to 12.6. It's a massive jump. You go from 1 to 12.6%. That's a massive jump. And that's just from sending a couple of follow-up emails. Like I hear this all the time in business. I have a friend who's an artist, and she learned more about following up with her leads in her business. And she said that it was unbelievable how many more clients she got just from following up. So if you send the email and they don't reply, don't give up on it. Assume they're busy. Send a couple of gentle reminders, and then, not a million, and give it a couple of days, right? And then, for the last one, send something to the effect of like, have you given up on this? And if they have, they'll ignore it. And if they haven't, they'll reach out to you again. Follow up. So, all right, so what's the 7? Short, practical subject line. Address your email recipient by name. Be personal and find the uncommon commonalities. Avoid things that will throw you into spam. Keep it short and sweet. Be clear and specific, especially on the next step you want them to take, one next step. And be grateful. And bonus tip, follow up. Send more emails. So that is what I have for you today. It is time for me to go have dinner with my honey. So I'm gonna go do that. But if you have any questions, you know how to find me. I've got all sorts of links on the side that can help you as far as like social media content and lead magnets and things like that. And then once again, if you have no other takeaways, use CoSchedule's email subject tester. It's so helpful. It's so helpful. Anyways, hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, take care. Bye.